standing strong and tall. Yeah, this is the bovine coming on the air, sharing the stories of the folks who care. Profiles of passion, voices of the trade, dairy strong legends being made. Yeah, this is the bovine coming on the air, sharing the stories of the folks who care. Profiles of passion, voices of the trade, dairy strong legends being made.
Welcome to the Bovine Podcast, where we dive deep into the stories shaping the global dairy industry. I'm your host, coming to you from thebovine.com, your premier source for dairy industry insights, analysis, and the stories that matter most to dairy professionals worldwide. Today, we're bringing you an extraordinary conversation with Chandler Barber, a young man from Statesville, North Carolina, who has revolutionized one of the dairy show industry's most crucial but often invisible roles. Chandler became the first ever Nightman of the Year at the Royal Agricultural Winter Fair in Toronto, one of North America's most prestigious cattle shows. But here's what makes Chandler's story truly remarkable. He never grew up on a farm. His journey into the elite world of cattle care began with beekeeping, led him through a chance encounter with a retired dairy farmer, and culminated in him earning nearly $900 a night, caring for show cattle during those crucial overnight hours when most people are sleeping. In this conversation, you'll discover what a nightman actually does, why this role is absolutely critical to the success of elite cattle operations, and how Chandler's systematic approach to animal care is setting new standards for the industry. We'll explore his unique feeding philosophies, his obsessive attention to detail, and why operations like Kingsway Farms offered him a lifetime contract after just one show. Whether you're a dairy producer, show cattle enthusiast, or simply someone interested in agricultural careers, this conversation will change how you think about animal care, dedication, and finding your calling in unexpected places. So settle in for an in-depth look at the night shift revolution in dairy showing and the young man who's proving that some of the most important work in agriculture happens when everyone else is asleep.
So first of all, and the term nightman, I don't know if too many people actually know what it means, especially if you're not familiar from in the show scene. So do you mind just telling us what is a nightman and what is the role at the cattle shows for a nightman?
Well, in my opinion, nightman or night guy, night woman, night lifer, it's the process of continuously taking care of animals throughout the night as the day crew leaves to go get some shut-eye. As a nightman, you're supposed to feed, keep them clean, make sure there are no sick animals in the pack, and if so, you have to be one to make the decision, what do I do when there's a sick animal? Do I continue to watch her and try and keep her progressing? Is she too cold? Is she too hot? Should I call the boss in? There's a number of different options for you, but not only that, though, the display. You want to keep the display all clean and tidy, and you want to make sure the whole string itself looks as good as whenever the crew left it, and as soon as they come back in, it looks like it's new again. You want to treat the cows as good as you can, with the most respect you can. I mean, like, for instance, one of the things I do is, as I'm feeding or something, I'll talk to them. Sounds weird, but I know. I'll constantly talk to them. I'll give them validation. I'll say they're doing a good job. Keep going, girls. Keep going, girls. As they're constantly building rib, as they're constantly eating more hay or eating whatever I'm feeding them, whether I'm, let's say, feeding silage at 10 p.m. at night or continuously feeding hay or switching over hays to feed to them. You just want to continuously keep them growing, keep them eating. One of the things I actually like to do is keep them coasting. Like on the first day, they're getting settled in, I'll coast them on hay, give them what they want, but I won't hammer them that day. Second day, I'll go a little harder, but I still won't hammer them, but I will feed a bit more aggressively. Third day, depending on which ones show, I'm either filling or I'm just continuously going. I like to go in a bell curve when I'm feeding because, as you know, a bell curve keeps rising until it hits a plateau point. And then once it hits that plateau point, you switch then it rises again, and hits another plateau point. Then let's say you switch one more time, rises again, another plateau point, and so on and so forth. Because cows like variety, but not only that, they like good quality forage and hay. Not to mention they like the long stem stuff too. But I have run into my fair share of picky eaters, and if you continuously do it right, you are able to maximize their potential through eating. And not only that, as you continuously wash them and keep putting them on their show program every day and push them to their maximum potential, they will give you back the maximum results. If you take care of them, they will take care of you. And I'm a firm believer in that.
Cool. And for many, it is a newer term, but it's also they've come up with a new award. I think the McMillan boys and Armstrong and a few of them were so impressed with the work you did at the Royal that they started a whole new Nightman of the Year award. And
Oh, yeah.
can you explain to everyone what that award, what that award meant to you, and what that award is?
That award meant the world to me. It really skyrocketed my career, honestly. I still remember the day that Kyle Stockdale called me after Expo. Like I was planning on coming to Royal anyway, but it wasn't a guarantee that I was going. And Kyle called me and said, "Hey, you want to come to Royal?" I'm like, "Yeah, for sure. With who? Kingsway wants you." I'm like, "Kingsway? Who the heck is Kingsway?" And keep in mind, I've only been doing this for 2 years. I'm still trying to figure out who everybody is and who's who. But from that moment on, changed my career forever and made me a new Canadian family. Nightman of the Year, basically what I had to do to get it is I had to go the extra mile, as Kyle's prefix is, and basically work my hardest while also keeping the little things in mind. Whether you're sweeping more to keep the floors clean, whether you're shaking straw so that they can just pitchfork it in whenever cows are getting washed and brought back. Consistency is key, but not only that, you want to be fast with it. The more time you can cut down on work whenever you're moving animals, getting them to and from the pack, better. Because the last thing you want to do is keep a cow waiting on the wash rack because you're not done shaking a straw bale. So at night, what I would do for those guys is I would constantly shake straw for them. That way it'd be ready for them in the morning. I would sweep the floors. I would clean the chute, wrap up everybody's cords. And yeah, I would just try and make the string look as pretty as I could possible, while also keeping the cows dandy. I mean, they were comfortable. They were making milk, chewing their cud, eating hay. Everything was going right. And on top of that, well, at Royal, of course, it gets cold, so you kind of got to know when you want to cut the fans off and when you don't. Because the barn can get kind of dusty, but as long as you keep some air moving through there, which we were right beside of a big sliding garage door type thing, with the chain on it.
Yep.
So there was naturally wind blowing in from that side, and we also had fans running. So every now and then I cut maybe 1 or 2 fans off, and I'd cut them back on just to keep air moving, keep cows healthy, keep them eating, keep them looking healthy, in my term. And on top of that, it genuinely worked out perfect. It worked out beautifully. I mean, the animals, they looked astounding on show day. And I'm just really proud. I'm very prideful about that string. Whenever I think night shift memories, that string will always stick out to me because not only was that my first Royal ever, but I got Nightman of the Year at my first Royal ever, and that will always be special to my heart.
Cool. Now, you're from Statesville, North Carolina, which is not quite Madison, Wisconsin when it comes to dairy cattle shows, and you didn't grow up on a farm. So how did you get into that?
Well, actually, funny story is I got into farming through bees. I was doing bees with this guy named Craig Connolly to start with, and also this guy named Thomas Bates to start with. Thomas is who I originally started with because he's the one who caught that swarm out of the tree, and I watched him do it. But through time, I ended up trying to get more and more serious into bees, and my hive numbers grew more and more, and I got connected with this guy named Craig. Now, Craig is a funny guy. He also really loves bees. He used to be commercial and have his own honey company out in the beach area. He'd sell whipped honey. He'd sell barrel-aged honey. He'd sell a lot of varieties of stuff. And, Craig basically taught me what I knew on steroids, essentially. Like, he really went into depth and really showed me how to get through hives fast while maintaining a consistent time and just basically continuing to remain vigilant, working through this hive, seeing what I need to see, close it up, working through that hive, seeing what I need to see, close it up. Time was important to him, and through teachings, he he showed me that time was important as well. Because the more you're in a hive, the more they get agitated with you, and the less work you're going to do because they're busy focusing on you and not getting pollen for honey. And with time, he told me one day, there's this guy in Harmony, North Carolina, he needs help. His name's Charlie. And we went over there to help him with some bees, and, well, Charlie was the organic dairy farmer, and he had this one cow in the pasture. She was a Jersey. And with time, I started helping Charlie more and more, and this is actually how I got into showing and whatnot. This cow had coliform mastitis. Her udder was dead. She couldn't make milk. But he kept her just as a little souvenir because he was retired. And I eventually asked him, hey, can we breed that cow to like a show bull or something so I can show the cows? And he's like, yeah, I'm not doing nothing else with her. So that's what we did. She came out. I wouldn't say she was the prettiest thing on the block, but she got second at our state fair. And that wasn't even really the highlight of my state fair. When I went there and whatnot, after she showed, I wanted to keep her clean. I wanted to keep her looking pristine, in good condition, but while also continuing to progress her to make her better. And as I was doing this, one string asked me to night shift for them for the first time, and then another, and then another, and then another. And eventually, I was looking after 9 strings, making 900 a night. It was crazy. God throws blessings in some of the strangest ways, but that kind of shaped my whole career. And, I've made friends through this industry, both some alive, some past. I'd say one of my greatest friends in North Carolina was probably a man named Wayne Root. You ever heard of him?
Yep.
He's responsible for Deerview. He made the bull Valison. I think Valison is the bull responsible for Spritz, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And yeah, he was overall a great person. He never stopped to help. He always stopped to help people. He was always there if you needed to talk, and he was just overall a very compassionate Jersey guy, and I miss him.
Now, you talk about that first time in making $900. Was that when you realized this was your calling? Is that when the passion started for you, or?
Kind of, sorta. I knew, like, I would walk around and do that, but I wasn't good yet. Like, I can keep them clean, I can keep them fed, but whenever you're working that many strings, it's hard to fully commit to that animal. At that point, you're mainly focusing on just keeping hay in front of them and keeping them clean. That's it. You can't really see who's doing who or what's doing what until you walk around that next time and see those animals. So that's why I like working strings of like 15, 20, 25. At New York Spring Show, I was working a string of 36 by myself. And, you can really commit to those animals, and you can really judge what they're going through, what they need, what they don't need. Like, for instance, through night shifting, I've taken care of animals who, if you filled up too much, they would break behind their shoulder slightly. Or cows, for instance. I've accidentally made a cow too cold from the fans. So, to combat that, I'd cut the fan off, and I would let her naturally heat up, because we made our packs pretty deep, so the straw would help with that, and she'd start chewing her cud. And then, depending on what she do, I'd check her ear temperature with my fingers. Like I'd walk up beside her and check her ears, and if they were doing warm, perfect. And yeah, the cows end up doing fine. Cows mainly take care of themselves for the most part, but you do have to keep an eye on them because some of them can be kind of finicky.
Now, you've commented that you feel you weaseled your way into the industry. Why do you feel that way? About just because you didn't
Because
come?
in my point of view, I kind of just came out of nowhere. Like one day, I was just someone that nobody knew, just trying to do my job right and do it proper. And now it feels like I'm everywhere. Like I was at Triple T, I was at the Kingsway tag sale, I was at the Mount Elgin sale, I was what other? I was at Ratliff sale, I was at New York Spring Show, and so on and so forth, just to name a few. I mean, and now this upcoming, I'm going to be at a number of places. I'm going to be at Erie County Fair. I'm going to be at Kentucky State Fair. I'm going to be at Madison Summer Showcase, Madison, aka World Dairy Expo. I'm going to be at Royal, and a couple others. You know, it's wild how many opportunities that I'm getting blessed with from other people. But honestly, I'm also just very grateful for it because these guys are trusting in me to take care of their animals throughout the night. So I'm very prideful over that, and I just can't thank everybody enough for it. You know, they're giving me opportunities that I didn't even know you could have. I mean, someone had told me that I'd be going to Canada for a cow show 2 years ago. I'd laugh and say, "What? What's a cow show?" Now it's my life. You know, I live and breathe it, and I never want to stop.
Speaking of never stopping, Kingsway, boys I know quite well, and have had a lot of success and take a lot of pride in the work they do. We're so impressed that after your first time working with them, they gave you a lifetime contract. What was that mean to you?
Well, I don't want to say, I don't want to be superstitious or nothing, but that day I was wearing my lucky shirt. Just saying. But that meant quite a bit to me. Like, the fact that someone liked my work so much to give me an opportunity such as that for such a legendary string full of animals. I mean, Kingsway has had countless 95 points. You got Allie, you got Gummy, you got Orangutan. Just so many legendary animals. And honestly, it's just such an opportunity to have, and then for them to also give me a lifetime opportunity, it just makes me feel so grateful. I mean, because the way I think about it, anybody could have gotten that opportunity. Anybody could have worked for them that year. But somehow the stars lined up, and God made it possible for Ethan and Morgan to give me an opportunity such as that, and I look forward to doing my second Royal with those guys.
Now, when I was talking with Ethan, one of the things he really highlighted is how you did the little things, like the details. He says that, like, it's insane in a good way that you worked so hard on the little details. What are the little details that you think make the biggest difference?
Ooh, man. There's quite a few, honestly. Like I said, sleeping, for one. Like, I walk around barns, and, you know, let's just say you're a cattleman, and you want to be by yourself, and you want to buy an animal. But you want to do it in private. You know, you come through the barns at like 10, 11 p.m., just walking, seeing everything laying down. Let's say you walk into the Kingsway string. Ooh, Kingsway, they have some good animals. Wow. Oh, there's straw all over the floor. Oh, my gosh, the cows had manure on the ground. Oh, why does she have a spot on her? Cedric's just naming off, checking boxes that are not good. First off, for me, my cows have to be spotless. I can't stand it when they have manure on them. It messes with my mind. And on top of that, I need to make sure the floors are clean. I sweep all night long. Like, Because whenever I'm feeding hay, you constantly have that one little piece that falls on the floor or something, or whenever you're coming in and out of the cow pack, sometimes you have straw that connects to your jeans and comes out with you and other stuff like that. But not only that, you want to make, let's say, people overlook the clipping station sometimes, but that's a part of the string just like everything else is. You want that to be spotless. You want the clipping to be spotless. And whenever I'm usually in a string too, I usually try to organize the string myself. Like, I'll put the tables over here. I'll line the chairs up beside the hut. I just like to make everything look all tidy and neat for everybody to see, because you never know when that one person might come down the string ready to buy an animal, or when that one person might come down the string with his kid or his daughter to show them Kingsway's legendary animals. And I feel like you owe it up to them, and you owe it to the cows to have them looking their prime. Because, I mean, if I was in a pack and I had someone taking care of me, I'd want the best care they can give me. I mean, after all, show is in their name, so I feel like we should treat them like the princesses they are. I mean, in my opinion, they are athletes. They have contracts with different companies like CMEX, Select, and some other small sire directories. So I feel like you should give them the ultimate care whenever it comes to that. I mean, it's just, I get pretty obsessive with these small things because, like, for instance, we went out to dinner. I think it was the last night, and, nothing was in the string. And then I went to a horse party because the horse people were throwing parties. But afterwards, I left, and, I dismantled the string. I took down all the cage. The fans were already down. I took off the railing. I rolled up all the signs and whatnot, took off the signs from the top. I just organized everything. That way, when everybody pulled in with the trailers, the pack trailers, we could just pick up everything and place it here, without having to go through the hassle of reorganizing things. Everybody could just carry out their stuff, and it would just be there, ready to go. Rather than us taking an extra hour or two to dismantle everything we put up, I took apart the running board, did all that stuff. And on top of that, whatever they told me to do, I did it. No questions asked, And if there were any special instructions, I would ask, hey, what about this cow? What do we need to do for her? Are the instructions the same as yesterday? What kind of hay are we feeding? What's the variety? Feed this and that hay. Okay. You want me to feed this towards the end of the night, or do you want me to feed this towards the beginning? Just questions like that. You want to get into the animal state of mind, and you want to figure out what they've been going through during the daytime so you can replicate it and also alter it throughout the night as well.
Now, it's quite new to most people, the title Nightman, or the role of the role has been there forever. Maybe some people didn't put as much effort into it, but now there's a lot more attention, especially thanks to yourself and the work your social media and the work you've been doing. For people who are looking to get into it, one of the questions I think they kind of have or would be wondering is, how does it pay? Like, how does the compensation work, or how do you structure your compensation for when you're looking after cattle at night?
Everything is usually paid for, like flights, hotel, food. Everything is usually paid for, but in my opinion, to first get my foot in the door, I mean, I had to start off pretty cheap. I mean, I didn't charge much my first expo. I only charged $100 a night, and I'm just being real with everybody. Probably not the most expensive out there, but I did a good job for what I had, and that was just my way of getting in. Whenever you start, it's not about the money. And even whenever you're 5, 6, 7 years in, it's still not about the money. Only the true survivors will know this. It's about the animals. Yeah, you make money in the industry. Yeah, you develop a reputation, but it's not about you. It's about the animals you're taking care of. What can you do to help that animal succeed on the shavings? How can you get that animal to grow rib? How can you get that animal to look better than the day before? what are some ways you can alter her? How can you make her more comfortable in her surroundings with all of these loud noises and clippers buzzing and fans blowing on her? What can you do to get her to chill? Well, pun intended, chill out with the fans blowing on her, but what can you do to get her to calm down, relax, be herself like she's out in a beautiful green pasture on the mountain? And that's the key. It's got to be for the animals. The money will come, but in my opinion, it's all about just keeping your priorities straight. And once you figure that out, it's golden. Because once you put the animals first, nobody can stop you at that point. Not to mention, you can tell a difference with the animals too. The people who do it for money, they don't love it because they're looking for that check at the end of the week. That's what they're focusing on. And the people who do it for the animals, they have a smile for their face, or they have their game face on, and they're constantly working harder and harder, going harder and harder each day, because they know in a couple of days' time it's going to be game time for this specific animal, and she has to be looking for bestest for that day.
When I was talking with Ethan about you, doing homework for this, he made the comment that a good night man or night person is extremely hard to find, and that's part of the reason he wanted to lock you in for the lifetime. Why do you think there is a shortage of people willing to do this?
Well, honestly, if you want my honest opinion, I think because it's not the funnest job out there, you know? Same as fitting. I mean, night people and fitting go hand in hand. You're both doing cattle care. Most people don't like fitting because it's uncomfortable. People don't want to be hot. They don't want hair in their arms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. With being a night person, people don't want to be up at 3 a.m., nobody in the barn, no music blaring, no parties cracking off. I mean, like, if you looked at day people, there is a surplus. I mean, everybody wants to do days, and, I mean, who can blame them? I mean, you're out in the parties and whatnot. But the important stuff is showtime for day people, like getting animals ready, getting them to the ring. The fitters are shining them up like a new quarter. They're putting in top lines as hard as diamonds. I mean, they're getting them dialed. Meanwhile, everybody else, they're feeding, getting hay, feeding pulp, feeding silage, whatever they'll eat, essentially. Getting them that big cage on them. You want them to have a giant cage with a great udder, veiny rear. That's the cow for me. Just big cage, big udders, you know. But good feet and legs, too. You want to be balanced. And when it comes to that, yeah, I just believe that most people don't think night shift is fun because it's solitary. You're by yourself most of the time. But it's a worthy sacrifice because I promise you, between that job and fitting, there isn't a more important one. Because let's say it's before the show, the night before the show, and there's no night man. Animals have manure all over them. Let's say one of them could have gotten really sick or had an allergic reaction to the hay you put in front of her, to name a few scenarios. Let's say an animal got loose and just spent the whole night running around the barn. Or just something of that nature. You need somebody there to monitor them, to make sure everything is going right in a mannerly fashion. And not to mention, you need someone you can trust. Someone who you know, if something goes haywire, they will pick up the phone because they don't have too much pride to admit their mistakes. Or they know, hey, this animal needs help. She is very important. Call this person now, you know? Like, just being able to identify those type of problems and also be a problem solver is just what I think it needs. And also night shifting, you can always get better at it. Same with fitting. I mean, the show world is constantly progressing. It's constantly moving forward with genetics, with cattle, with setups, with crews. There's always more opportunities out there to get better. And practice makes perfect. practice also makes permanent. The more you do it, the better you'll get. And that's why I'm never really satisfied with my jobs. I mean, I think I do a good job, yes, but there's always something else I feel like I could do better. Like after the Royal, I wrote down a little list of things that I thought I could have done better or done more frequently for the animals. And this year, I plan to correct all those things and do an even better job because I feel like I owe it to them and I owe it to myself to show myself that I can do those type of things without hassle.
Now, you've worked anywhere, you've had a lot of experience in the short period of time. You've had county fairs, you've hit Expo, you've hit the Royal, you've had some big name sales. How would they each one differ? Do you have to approach each one differently, and is there different pressure with each one?
Without a doubt, yes. Whether it's living conditions, for instance, at Kingsway, they actually just built the new barn. They have free packs. The animals at that sale were not wearing halters. They were free, doing whatever they please. Yeah, they had ropes on them with their numbers, but they were free packs. And they were free to walk up and eat hay whenever they wanted and then go back. So you'd naturally have to go through and pick out the packs and make sure everything stayed clean. Mount Elgin was the same way. They also had free packs. But let's say you go to a sale like Triple T, those animals are also on packs, but they're on halters. So naturally, they can't walk around freely like they want to do. They're naturally on halters, so they will continuously eat hay, but it's hard. I mean, not harder. It's easier to keep those type of animals clean because they're not walking over one another to get to some hay. So therefore, they're not leaving hoof prints on one another and all that other stuff. Not to mention, if you put them on halters too, you can fit a lot more animals in a smaller space as well.
Now,
it's more compact. That's
Yep.
the right word.
Yep, for sure. The one of the things I'm extremely impressed with you is the amount of thought you put into everything. And in looking into that, I realized that your grandmother had a big impact on you. How has your grandmother helped you, impacted you, and what do you learn from her that you apply to this?
Always give it 100%. You know, my granny is usually the deciding factor for me when it comes to these decisions. Like, recently she just had to get surgery. But the recovery time wasn't too long. That's why I'm not hitting any shows in the month of June. I just wanted to stay by her side and make sure she was okay. I just wanted to be there for her. But come July, I'll be hitting more shows. But yeah, she's a big part of my life. You know, she's my biggest supporter. She's always supporting me whenever it comes to something positive. But then again, whenever I do something wrong, she isn't afraid to snatch me up either. She's a great woman, though. Definitely a role model for me, and I don't know what I'd do without her. She's definitely my granny, without a doubt, and I'm proud to call her my granny.
Now, another person I think that has had a big impact or helped you quite a bit is, you've mentioned him already, is Kyle Stockdale. How did you meet Kyle, and how has Kyle helped you out?
I met Kyle on Facebook. I was searching for a Madison opportunity so I could work there and get to see Madison for the first time because I've seen it online a time or two, and I was like, wow, look at these cows, look at that equipment. Holy, I need to be there. And I ended up on the Kai Vision group chat. Cattle clipping group chat. The Fitters Friend, that's what it's called.
Fitters Friends.
And I split up and said, hey, anybody looking for a Madison opportunity? And I'd say Kyle was the first person to hit me up out of the deal. And after talking with him for a bit, I got the job locked in. And, I will be working with that same crew this year at Madison. He's the manager of the crew. And the string is owned by a man named Ryan Ferris. Also a really good guy. Just great people, you know. They highly respect. They have great animals, and we all get along. So there's just, I couldn't see it any better. And as we progress, the string is just going to continuously get better and better. And the best part about that string is he has kids. That's who he does it for, is his kids. I mean, last year, whenever we were doing it, they were showing me pictures. There's just nothing like having a kid go to that ring with their animal, get success, and then having them flash that Showtime smile at you after they get a medal. Absolutely unreal. And, just brings a smile to my face every time I see it. And I hope with the animals we bring this year, we can replicate the same feeling for them, because I think they deserve it. They've worked hard.
Now, you mentioned that you owe it to the cows. A lot of what drives you is you owe it to the cows.
Sure.
What do you makes you connect with? You seem to really connect with the cows, and you seem to really care about the cows. Where does that come from, and
Well,
how does that drive you?
cows have shaped my life. They've definitely changed my life for the better. I don't know. At first, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and the moment I got into the dairy farm and started working with animals and started making forage and whatnot, it's a game changer. Now I don't know what I'd do without them. Working at Garmac Farms and doing all that stuff, and now I'm doing show stuff now. It's just amazing. Like these cows, they go through so much, and they do what they gotta do, like from making milk to high fat and protein to making eggs and selling genetics. They're so versatile. Not to mention they're such hard workers. To be able to do that every day and continue chewing your cud and continue doing your thing, I feel like if you go to a show, that cow has earned her spot in that string. She is worthy, especially at these big shows like Madison and Royal. She didn't just get brought there to pull a check. She earned that spot. So if she had to work that hard to do that, she is special. And you can't tell me any different. That cow is special. She's not special to me. She's special to someone. So, like I said, I feel like, I do owe it to that cow to treat her with the utmost of respect and quality care. Because if she had to work that hard to get to that spot, I feel like I owe it to her to give her the best chance of winning.
Right.
While also keeping her as comfortable as possible. And while also giving her the most amount of respect that I can give her to the fullest of my ability.
Now, you sound very competitive, and I think that applies even to the Nightman role. I think I've heard you say that you work at taking away someone else's shine. Can you describe what you mean by that and what drives that?
Well, I've always played sports when I was little, and I've always been competitive. I've always wanted to be the star out of the bunch. It all really started at Madison. That was one of the first times I've ever really had someone beside me working nights. Well, no. It started at Harrisburg, actually. That was one of my first bigger shows, and then it was Madison. But, I was working beside someone, and I took great pride in the string I was working with, because I was keeping them clean, keeping them fed, keeping the floors swept, keeping everything trying to look pristine. Now, back then, I didn't exactly know what I did now, and with my ADHD too, I become pretty honed in on the little things, because every little thing equals a big thing eventually. It just takes enough little things to make a big thing. And whenever I was doing that, I was very competitive, because I wanted to be the best. I wanted my animals to look the best. I wanted them to have the best feel on them. And I just wanted them to look like they made a transformation with time. And I wanted them to I wanted you to be able to tell, hey, who took care of these animals? They look totally different from the day they walked into to now. What happened? Who did this? I wanted to be that person that did that. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to make a change. But to do that, you have to stand out with your work ethic. Your work ethic is all you got. If you're not going to work, this isn't the best life for you, because dairy farming, all it is work. Yes, you have your fun, happy moments, but you got to be able to say, hey, I'm going to do this. We are going to get this done. I am going to work my butt off the whole week, and get these animals to where they have to be, no matter what. And then you have to own up to that, because along with work comes your word. You have to be a firm believer of your word, because you can't go back on your word after you make a commitment such as that. It's too important. So you have to do it. And then once they go in the ring and they have success, like I've had a couple of success stories myself. Like, for instance, my newest success story was a red and white at the Northeast All Breed Spring Show. She got JC Red as well as Reserve JC in the blacks. So just stuff like that makes it worth it. Like, keep going. Eventually, you're like, man, wow. I was there when that happened. I was there when this happened. This animal got this award, and I was helping her out. I helped prep that one. And you can just string together a whole line full of memories and jobs you did. And that's another really cool feature about working the night shift for a while, is you can do stuff like that. You can string together memories, and every now and then I like to scroll through my camera roll or scroll through my Facebook posts just to reminisce on past memories that I've made. And yeah, it's important. It almost brings a tear to your eye, because whenever you look at that stuff, you realize just how far you've come and just how much progress you made, and who's giving you these opportunities and who's giving you those opportunities. And it's just amazing. It's nostalgic.
Interesting you mentioned about the ADD. I don't know if you're familiar with Temple Grandin. He has autism, but one of the great things about her is that he feels that helpful. She knows that helped her connect with the cows because she understands them more and can relate to them. And I would say that you seem to really relate to the cows as well yourself. So that's really cool.
Thank you, sir.
One of the things here is you mentioned about someone like the first time. If you were to speak to someone who was nervous or doing it for their very first time, they're going to be a night man at a local show or somewhere, what advice would you give someone who's getting into it?
Don't take too many strings too fast, and hone your skills. Focus on getting better. For me, like, I do make a lot of posts on Facebook and Snapchat and stuff like that, but we all start from somewhere. Just because you see one person taking care of 36 cows by themselves, I mean, yeah, that's cool. It's cool to take care of the big strings, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into that, and it gets pretty stressful at times, especially whenever it's about to be game time and all 36 animals are soon to go in the ring or something like that, or half of them are going in the ring. It gets pretty nerve-wracking. If I was to give any advice to a person starting out in the night shift, take it one step at a time. Don't get distracted by how much money you're making, and put the animals first. That's it. Put the animals first. Because at the end of the day, those animals are the reason why you're here. Not to mention, your skills are also the reason why you're here. Those two key factors are what got you that opportunity. So I think you should become very obsessive and isolate those two skills. Isolate yourself with the animals and get in their head, get in their mind. Use their instincts to your advantage, whether it's for them to drink water, whether it's for them to eat hay. Maybe switch up the hay whenever they get really tired of it, so that they'll gorge on the next variety. Use their natural instincts to their advantage, so that way, as you're making them progress, they're not fighting you with progression. They're making themselves progress, so they already think they're doing it themselves. So yeah, just my first thing I would tell those guys is, don't get distracted by the money. Put the animals first. Hone your skills, and then the rest will come.
Now, you mentioned you got... Oh, go ahead, sir.
Sorry. One more thing.
Yeah.
Have a good attitude. Nobody likes someone who complains all the time. Have a smile on your face and have some manners, because that will take you a long way as well.
That's great advice. You seem like someone who really thinks about the whole process, especially with the cows going through animal behavior. And you said you got started with bees. When you were doing with the bees, is there from the beekeeping, is there lessons you've learned from that you applied to here about the behaviors of bees or things that way? Or you seem to really think about this stuff?
um, with bees, is there any lessons that I learned with bees
And
that
how does it
translate
compare
to cows?
yeah.
Timing matters. Like with bees, let's say you're working 90 hives in a big blueberry field or something, and you're working a bunch of mean hives. The more you work in a mean hive, the more agitated they will get, and the more they will try to sting you. It sucks, but that's just the way it is. You want to get in that hive, do what you have to do, and get out of that hive as fast as possible while being as efficient as possible. You don't want to accidentally kill 30 bees because you put the frame in wrong, or you don't want to accidentally kill the queen of the hive because you accidentally shook her onto the ground and another bug ate her or something like that. You want to be careful. You want to be light. You want to be gentle. Yet, you want to be fast and efficient. And that's how I am with cows. I want to be careful. I want to be gentle. But I also want to be fast, efficient. But I want to be very vigilant with them like I am bees. Bees, you pay attention to every detail. How many eggs are in that cell? How big is the honey border on the outside? Where's the queen? You're very vigilant about every little thing. Cows, I think, is the same way. Because not only are you vigilant about every little thing, cows are too. Cows can tell when something's changed. I mean, if you've ever watched a Jersey or beef or Holstein walk into an unfamiliar space, they're going to take it slow because they're not used to it. Now, as they're at these shows, some cows get used to it eventually, but I think we've all brought an animal to their first show. That animal at the start is super vigilant, super touchy. She's very alert. But the thing that I like about good night people and just good crew overall, they know how to get these animals comfortable. They know how to make them calm down and settle in with the rest of them. And I think that's the beautiful part about it.
Now, you mentioned that bees, you've been stung up to 60 times a day. Most people would have quit. What keeps you working with the bees?
The job's got to get done, you know. Yes, you'll take stings. Whenever I first learned how to beekeep with Thomas Beatty, I didn't have enough money to buy a suit. All I had was a smoker in my hand and a hive tool in the other hand, so I'd constantly get stung over and over working bees. But, you know, it really taught me how to be careful and how to work my way around it because, I mean, sometimes I go willingly without a suit. Like if it's 90 degrees and 89% humidity and I only got like 5, 6, 7 hives outside, yeah, I'll go out in a short sleeve shirt and some swim trunks with a hive tool and a smoker and I'll work them like that. But if you got some mean bees and you know it, it's best to wear a veil at least. I mean, but yeah, jobs just got to get done. It's actually kind of funny. Mean bees make more honey than nice bees. And everybody thinks it's the queen that controls the temperament of the hive, which they do, but it's also the workers as well. Workers actually control the hive because they are the ones that make the queen. They don't want a queen anymore. They will replace her. It's been done countless times in my hives. I mean, I walked in one week and the queen has been here and it was this color. And then I came back. Okay, where's the queen? She's gone. And the bees are loud. Okay, let me close them up. Oh, but there's a couple cells right there. Okay, they're doing something new. Let me come back later and see what they do. 1 week later, okay, cells capped. And then I come back again. Boom, there's a whole new queen in there laying eggs everywhere. And it's just, yeah, job's got to get done. Once you commit to something, you have to finish it. And that's how I look at doing a string in cows. Like, I get hired by these people and, you know, regardless of the circumstances, once I commit to something, I'm not quitting. That's what it is. It's set in stone for me, and I'm going to give it my all from beginning to end. Same with bees. I'm going to give it my all from beginning to end, because if you don't treat your hive, if you don't do proper things properly, they are not going to make honey to their maximum potential, because they're not healthy. You know, you got hive beetles to worry about. You got wax moths. You got Varroa destructor. That's the scientific name, but regular name's Varroa mites. You got other animals. You have to keep them healthy. You got to keep them treated. You got to keep them flowing. But not to mention, bees would not mind a little help. You know, if you want to catch, let's say, some hive beetles, put what's it called? Menthol paper. Not only will it drive the hive beetles out, the bees will chew it up, and hive beetles will get stuck in it. And if you want to get Varroa destructor out of your hive, I use this thing called Apivar. It's a treatment, and what happens is bees eat it, and it gets all over their legs with the hairs, and it sticks to them, and that will kill Varroa mites, and they will drop to the bottom board. And every now and then I go do bottom board cleanings, and I will shake the bottom board sediments onto a tray and go through it with a magnifying glass and see if I can find Varroa mites. And yeah, it's very scientific and it's very informational.
Now you've started Be Cool, your honey business. Can you describe how that's going and what you're doing there?
Well, since I started doing shows, I don't really do bees as often as I did. I've kind of started to slowly sell hives and downgrade a little, but if I'm not mistaken, I think I got my brand Be Cool from another brand. I was like, man, I like that name, but they have Be Cool bee equipment. I'm just going to be Cool Honey. But that name's not trademarked or nothing, so anybody can use it. But, yeah, basically it's going well. What I usually do is I mainly sell it to family members. Like all my family loves honey. Like I'll either get them in glass pint jars with screw-on tops, or I'll get special bottles during the holidays and put corks in them just to spruce them up a little bit, make them look special. And I'll either give them away as presents, or I will sell them to family members, or I got a couple friends that take them to farmers markets for me and sell them like that, and then they get their cut for selling the honey for me, and then they give me the rest. And yeah, I've been doing that for a couple of years now, and I've liked that method quite well.
Now, I just changed the thing here a little bit, but talking about memories and things, you've had a lot of experiences in a short time. Are there certain nights or experiences that you've had being a night man that stand out to you that you think you'll never forget?
Ooh. Certain experiences.
Or what are your most memorable events?
Coming into Canada for the first time. This was during the Kai Vision tag sale.
Yeah.
I was on the plane, and I was looking outside. I was like, man, what is all that white stuff on the ground? Well, I'm not used to this. Snow everywhere. And it was just, it was surreal, because I wasn't used to seeing all that stuff. And I got off the plane, and oh, sweet Jesus. I thought my lips were going to fall off my face. It was that, I was waiting at the airport for Kyle to pick me up, and it was so cold, I couldn't keep my hands in my pockets. Like, it was that cold. I underdressed for it big time. Like, I didn't expect for it. I thought it was going to be at, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Heck no. The wind chill was ridiculous. And that also went along with one of my coldest nights, too, because the day before the tag sale happened, I wanted to keep everything clean, and I wanted to keep everything looking good. So I ended up staying the night in the barn, and I brought 3 long sleeves with me, a hoodie, and some overalls, and et cetera, et cetera. And I was still cold. I was shivering. I was over here pacing back and forth in the barn just to keep warm, and that hot chocolate machine that was in there became my best friend. But holy moly, I've never been that cold in my life. But would I do it again? Yeah. it was a good time. It was a fun time. I really enjoyed that sale, even though I froze my fingers off. It was definitely quite the experience. Royal, though, honestly, Royal wasn't that cold. Like, it had its nights where it was kind of chilly, but for what it was, it really wasn't cold. Madison wasn't that cold either, honestly. Like I said, it had its moments where maybe for one night in the week it was super cold, but yeah. Other memories that I got is just making friends with people. Of course, you got getting Nightman of the Year. That's a pretty big time core memory for me. Meeting the crews, like meeting Ryan, Kyle, and James Spruce, and those guys, they're all family to me. James Spruce and Kyle and Ethan Morgan, all those guys are probably some of my closest friends in the industry. James actually fits. He's a pretty good fitter. Throwing that in there for a little plug. But, yeah, just meeting those guys, those guys have been like family to me. And, you know, I know they would do anything for me if I needed it.
Now, you talk about the cold. What's harder, extreme heat or the cold for taking care of the cows at night?
Heat. Extreme heat. Oh, well. Well, it depends where they're from, actually. Like, let's say you have cows from North Carolina and you take them to a New York show. They are going to freeze their butts off. But if you have York cows and you bring them down or you take them to California to show, they are going to be, it's just going to be miserable for them because they're not used to those climates. And that's another thing that helps whenever you have a really good crew. They've seen this stuff before. I mean, let's say you got someone, Bud John or someone, and they're taking tie-ins. I mean, you got animals from all over coming to Expo, and some of those animals aren't used to the Madison climate. Let's say Vieira Dairy from California.
Mm-hmm.
Those animals aren't used to the colder climates of Madison, so with time, going through that kind of stuff, the animals can start to get kind of sick because they're just not used to it, and it kind of upsets the balance of their body. But with time, they will lock back in, but it's just a matter of how fast can you get them to do so. Not only that, how fast you can get them to do that while remaining healthy and can get their bodies to fire on all cylinders.
One of the things that people mention to me about you is you like to listen to music while you work. Is there a particular type of music, and how does that help in?
Well, whenever the crew is around and whatnot, I'll play, well, depends on if they have kids, I'll play kid-friendly music and stuff with no cussing in it or anything like that. But if it's just me by myself, I'm usually playing either some pop if I'm feeling it, or heavy metal whenever I want to focus, or regular rock if I want to focus. I used to be big time in the country, but recently after I figured out what rock and metalcore was, I really never looked back. I'd say probably one of my favorite songs is Keeping Secrets by Fit for a King. You got God Complex from Bleed Within. You got Cold Hard Truth from Fox Lake. Kerosene by All That Remains. The Piper, All That Remains, Return to One by Invent, Animate, and Silent Planet. That was a collab. Yeah, just songs like that, you know, from the guitar riffs to the singing to the solos, just they really just get my energy skyrocketing and they get me going. I feel like music has a way of giving you different types of energies and moods. I feel like that helps you out because, like, if you're just working by yourself at nighttime and it's completely quiet, it gets hard because you can't really sit down. Because the moment you sit down, you're going to want to get comfortable, and the moment you get comfortable, it's lights out, buddy. But if you have something playing, or if you have any background noise or anything like that, you're good. Or if you have a secondary night person, you're good because you have another thing to focus on other than just staying awake. You can socialize with that person while you're working, or you can listen to the lyrics while you're working, getting cows ready and whatnot. Not to mention that stuff makes the time pass a lot faster. Time goes really slow when you think about it, but it goes really fast when you're not thinking about it. I mean, if time gets away from you and you're not thinking about it, it's already time to do this, and you're not even ready. So just got to be vigilant, stay focused, and keep your head in the game.
You talk about the game, and one of the things that's really changed is I think when Nightman started, or when I think of Nightman when I was a fitter, the main job was just to keep them alive and half clean. Now you talk about helping them progress, which is a huge difference. But where do you see the role of a Nightman evolving, say, in 5-10 years from now?
Ooh, where do I see it evolving, huh? Well, for one, I think younger and younger people are going to get into it, hopefully. I actually, at New York Spring Show, there was these two girls working nights for Maple Downs. And one of them was like 20s, 30s. The other one was like 12. I was watching them from across the park, so I was like 2 aisles over, and I was honestly impressed because that 12-year-old was keeping up with the 20-year-old. And for how young she is, I think she's going to be a great night woman one day. Without doubt. If not, she already is. And it's just kind of wild. I think younger and younger kids are going to want to get into it, without a doubt. And hopefully, maybe I can spark a couple people to get into it myself. Like, that'd be pretty amazing to do. Like, have someone say, what got you into night shift? And, oh, yeah, I watched this kid do this and this work, and I got inspired. That really touches my heart because I know I did my job good enough for someone to want to try it themselves. And, night shifting also brings you opportunities. So, yeah, pull the youth in more, maybe get some of the older guys who can't fit anymore to do it. That would be fun. And yeah, just overall, keep people into it. Keep people progressing. Keep people finding solutions to make animals progress faster and further than they ever have. Keep it constantly moving forward, because if it remains stagnant for too long, it will become outdated, and then it's going to have to find something to progress with, So I feel like, yeah, just keep it moving forward while also getting more and more people into it at the same time. That's where I see it going in 5 years.
It's interesting. You mentioned one of the things we think when I think of Nightman is it connects to recognition for it. We did an article with David Diamond, who is probably one of the greatest showmen of all time, and he was a fitter.
Oh, yes, I know him.
Yeah, and he was a fitter, but became a showman because when a cow won, everyone congratulated the leadsmen and didn't even acknowledge the fitters. And nowadays, I'd say some people acknowledge the fitters, but they don't acknowledge maybe the barn crews and the people in the night. So that's one of the reasons, especially for highlighting your work, is I think the people that really help make this happen deserve recognition, and hence part of the reason why we're interviewing yourself, because of how key the role is, and giving recognition for the hard work is very much due.
Without a doubt, but at the end of the day, it's always a team effort, like, it's not just me. Everybody pitches in a part to make this happen, and, we all play our roles. Whether we get congratulated or not, as long as the animals do what they need to do, that's all I care about, Like, recognition will come, but that show is now, Like, that, I'm not really, I'm focused on the future, but whenever I'm at a show, the future is now. The future for that cow could be altered at that show. Like, let's say you're at Madison or something, and you have cows going into the ring. That little walkthrough in the ring, that class that she's in, could change her life forever. Because if she pulls a medal and gets top 10 or gets top 5 or even places first in her class, everybody will look at that animal differently from that moment on. Oh, yeah, she placed first at Madison 2025. Oh, really? No way. Does she have any eggs out? And then there it goes. You just sparked the sale right there. These shows are a testament to cows, but they're also a trial to the barns. Winning doesn't just start at shows. Winning starts at the barns. What are you doing at home to get these animals to where they need to be? Because you can't just have a cow go in a free stall and not take care of her whatsoever, and then just take her to a show and win something. Like, well, sometimes you can. Like, there's a special cow every once in a while that happens like that. But, you know, most of these heifers, they have extensive eating and showing programs back at home. And then whenever you take them to these shows, it's a testament to all the hard work the farm crew has put in to get these heifers to where they need to be. And once they get them there and take them to the shows, and those heifers do what they need to do and hopefully succeed, their lives are completely altered. And everybody definitely looks at them with an eyebrow raise and a smile and says, that's a nice heifer. I like that heifer. So balanced, so square. Look at the strength between her legs. She's so stylish. Look at that rib. And yeah, just it really makes you appreciate the quality of some of these heifers. Because yeah, you can have a really good heifer breeding wise, but is she special in the ring? I mean, you'd be surprised how many good heifers you can turn from good to special just by putting them on a different show program and being more intensive to them and giving them what they need on the daily. It really works out for them that way, and that's a prime example of whenever I say if you take care of your animals, they will take care of you. And by take care of you, I mean they will do what they have to do, and they will get you recognition, whether it's your prefix, your farm name, or even just making sales, selling eggs, selling genetics. They will do what they need to do if you do what you have to do. No cutting corners, none of that stuff. Just do an honest job and give it your all.
I think if you talk to all the top herds, if you go to Farm Jacobs or Farm Blondin or Bud John or even Ernie Kiefner, they'll all tell you it's a 365 day a year job getting the cows ready for elite shows. And I when I think about that, and I also think about the late Richard Caverly, who used to always tell me that, you know, he'd come to shows and people would do all this work and then they just leave them at night and not take care of them. And you put all that work in to get them to the show and ready for the show, and you got to also make sure that you're as you say, progressing them through the show. And I think that's a huge point that you make, that you work so hard to try to keep them progressing, because there's a lot of work goes into it from the whole team, as you mentioned.
Without a doubt. And, you know, like people like Ernie Kiefner, Terry Packard, and even Rexdale Holsteins. Rexdale was actually my first ever sale. You ever seen the sign in Kiefner's barn?
Yep.
That sign speaks wonders. It's legendary.
Yep.
I've never seen it before in real life, but if I'm not mistaken, it goes about like this. In this barn, these cows are females. Treat them as they are. I think that's how it goes. If I'm not mistaken. It's something like that.
They had it when they were in Arethusa. It was in these barns, these cows are queens, and treat them like it.
Yeah, without a doubt. And also, Rexdale Holsteins, that was actually my first ever sale that I worked, whenever I was first getting into it. They have a sign, and it says, "She is so much more than just a cow." And she actually is. When I first started doing Nightline, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know that what, she's so much more than just a cow, because whenever I looked at an animal back then, I saw what they were. And to me, they were just Holsteins or Jerseys or Swiss or Guernseys. They were bovine to me. But through doing this and taking care of them, I've realized they really are so much more than just a cow. They are family. These animals are athletes. They have, these shows, Expo is like the Olympics of showing. It's the premier show of the year. It's what every big person and every marketer and every person dreams of going to see these animals. And they are, like I said, they're athletes, they're family. And through working, I bonded with some of these animals, and I've created great bonds. Like, for instance, you got Kingsway's gummy bear. I've never met her until last year, but the first day I got to touch her, felt nostalgic. Like, it felt unreal. Like, that's probably I even got to look after her one night or two. Such a cool moment to be able to touch a 95-point cow and give her a head scratch and a boop on her nose. I did the same thing with Trixie at Kingsway, and another big-time cow taken care of at night was Chapter 23 at Redso. Yeah, just cows like that, you know, they're a firm testament to just breeding with elegance. I mean, what else can make that much milk and work that hard and still be so beautiful at such a tender age of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old? I mean, it's absolutely wondrous, and it's mythical. Like, stuff like that, like the art of breeding, it's amazing to see how far you can take an animal in 2 to 3 generations with the right breeding pairing. I mean, some of these cows, from where they came from, like, the art of breeding, like, for instance, you got the Frosty family and Oakfield Footloose. And if I'm not mistaken, aren't they the first daughter dam to win Expo back-to-back or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah, the art of breeding is wonderful. And the cool part about that is, I mean, that family originated in Virginia, which isn't far from North Carolina. So
I was going to say not far from you. Yep.
Kind of strikes home for me.
Now,
and yeah, just
you
really don't know, like, if you grow up on a farm, you do, but something from a person who never grew up on a farm, you don't know what that means until you really experience it for yourself.
Now, you say about experience for yourself, and you said 2 years ago, if someone had told you you were jumping on a plane and going to a cow show in Canada, you'd have thought they're crazy. So now, what do you think's next for you? What are your goals in the next 2 to 5 years?
My goals in the next 2 to 5 years, well, my number one goal is to keep night shifting and keep progressing in cattle care. Every aspect of cattle care to the fullest of my ability. I want to move with the times and constantly progress with everybody else. And not to mention, I want to keep at it. I want to keep getting better, keep proving why I'm here, keep showing everybody that these animals, they're worth it. These animals, they come first. These animals, they have great potential. They are supposed to be here, and they will have success. I want to keep at that. But not only that, you know, like, recently I haven't really been posting this much or anything, but I've been dabbling and fitting a little bit too. Like, I clip cows and whatnot, but, you know, one day I wouldn't mind doing both, clipping and doing nights, but for right now, the only thing on my vision, sightline-wise, is nights. I want to do night shift. I want to do it full-time one day if I could, and I just want to commit to that.
Now, you talk about the commitment to that work. What would you want if I asked someone you'd worked for or someone who had seen you work at a show doing night shift? What would you want them to say about you, or how would you like them to remember the work you've done?
It's very intense. Do you want like the full play-by-play?
Sure.
He's very intensive. He focuses on the small things, but he also focuses on the big things. His energy, it's intense, it's powerful. Let's get this going. Let's move forward. He loves progression. He always puts the animals first. But he's a very polite young man who has a great attitude and isn't afraid of anything. He's not afraid to do this task and ask and do. He's not afraid to do that task and ask and to do. I just want to be remembered. I don't want to be remembered for Chandler. I don't want to be remembered for my brand, Nightlife. I just want to be remembered as a very good cow guy. Someone who knew how to take care of cattle and someone who knew how to keep them moving, keep them going. I just want to be remembered for my cattle care experiences, my quality experiences. And that's what I would want, yes. I would want to be remembered as one of the better guys to do cattle care, if it came down to it.
Now you've come a long ways from the young kid who was afraid of the beehives to your journey now. What would you tell the young kid if you could go back and tell him about the journey ahead that you've had? What would you tell a young Chandler?
Oh, what would I tell a young Chandler? Keep at it. Don't give up. And no matter what people say, do what makes you happy. Don't live your life trying to search for validation from somebody else whenever you're the only one who needs validation from yourself. Don't be afraid to take risks or do things a little differently. And not to mention, be around people who celebrate you, not people who talk bad about you.
That was Chandler Barber, the first ever Nightman of the Year at the Royal Agricultural Winter Fair, sharing his incredible journey from North Carolina beekeeper to one of the dairy show industry's most sought-after overnight cattle care specialists. Chandler's story reminds us that excellence in agriculture can come from the most unexpected places, and that dedication to animal welfare and attention to detail can create opportunities that transform entire careers. His systematic approach to night shift cattle care is raising the bar for the entire industry and inspiring a new generation of agricultural professionals. If you want to learn more about Chandler's work or follow his continuing journey in the dairy show circuit, you can find him on social media. And for more stories like this one, profiles of the innovators, dedicated professionals, and game changers shaping our industry, visit us at thebullvine.com. At The Bullvine, we're committed to bringing you the stories behind the statistics, the people behind the progress, and the insights that matter most to dairy professionals around the world. Thanks for listening to the Bullvine podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with colleagues who would benefit from hearing Chandler's story, and don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in dairy.